Hey guys, this is the AI King Russ Ward, and what I'm going to show you in this video is how to make an Instagram AI bot. So what you see on the screen right here is you see our SOP, our setup instructions on how to do this. And everybody in my coaching group gets this, and you're going to get all these instructions and everything I show you in here. So don't worry about taking notes or anything, just follow along. Everything will be provided to you. So beneath this video, you're going to see a link to get what's called Nifty. Nifty is the project management software that I use for my business and our VAs use. And it's kind of like ClickUp, but I got a lifetime deal on AppSumo, so I use it. And so what you'll do is you'll get a free account of Nifty, and then you'll import this SOP, and then you'll be able to follow along with us using the SOP. You don't have to use it, but if you want to, it is available to you. So when we're going to get started with this, the very first thing we need to do is we need to make sure that both our Facebook and Instagram accounts are connected together. If they're not connected together, when you link them to High Level, Instagram's not going to work. So I'm going to assume by the time you start this, you're going to already have done that. And if you don't know how to do that, under the very first step, we have a link here to a video that I made to show you how to do that. So you go through this little 5-minute video. It shows you how to link your Facebook and your Instagram accounts together. I don't know why they make it so difficult, but it can be a little bit hard to do that. So if you don't have that link together, go ahead and watch that video and make sure you knock that out first. And then what you're going to do is you're going to confirm that it is connected to High Level. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over to High Level, and we're going to go to Settings, and then we're going to go down to Integrations. And you're going to see all these different connections we can make, right? So this one, we're going to do Facebook and Instagram. We're going to connect it, and then we're going to have this screen pop up. Make sure you are logged into your Facebook account that is linked to your Instagram account that you want to use. I know that sounds a little confusing, but when you link them together, they will be linked to a Facebook account. So you're going to click Continue as Russ, or whatever your name is. Probably your name is not Russ. And then what you're going to see once this thing loads up, sometimes it takes a minute to load up, is you're going to have a drop down of options, right? So we're going to use Lee King AI Bots because that's linked to the Instagram account I want to use. If you have it linked properly, you'll see the Facebook and the Instagram logo. If it is not linked properly, such as that one, you won't see Instagram, and Instagram won't be available. So we're going to pick this one. We're going to connect Facebook and Instagram. And then once it does its thing, you're going to have it connected here. So you're going to see both of these up here. Okay, so let's go back to our checklist, and we'll check off both of these things. Now, the first thing we need to do is log into High Level. We're obviously logged into High Level. We need to confirm our snapshot is installed. So if you have an account through me, through Automations Plus, I install that snapshot for you. If you install it yourself, there's instructions on how to do that, but you need to make sure it's installed. So what you do is you go back, you go to Automation, and then if you see all these different folders that say Facebook bot, live chat widget, IG bot, all this stuff, you know that it's installed properly. So we're going to confirm that's installed. We need to log into Consolidata and OpenAI. So Consolidata is the software that we use to connect High Level to OpenAI so we can make the bots communicate between AI and High Level. So my version of Consolidata is rebranded as BizdomBots. It's a white label. So it's interchangeable. If you see Consolidata, if you hear me say Consolidata or BizdomBots, it's the same exact thing. Okay, so you need to get logged into that. Then you need to get logged into OpenAI. So you just go to OpenAI login, and you're going to come to two options when you log into OpenAI. You're going to have ChatGPT, or you're going to have API. For this case, we're going to use API. And then once you're logged in there, you may only have one account, which is yours, or you could have a bunch of accounts because you have clients. Pick your account, and then you always click the dashboard, and that's where we want to be to get started with OpenAI. So we're all good with that. These are knocked out. Now, the next thing we want to do is we want to make custom fields. These are questions that we need answered for our bot. We do it in this order for a reason, because these are later going to get pulled into Consolidata for building our prompt. So in the case of this, I'm just going to make a random local service business. I'm going to make let's just go with a plumber. And I always like to go to ChatGPT and ask it for some qualifying questions if the client doesn't provide them, right? So I'm going to say, I own a plumbing company. I am generating leads. I need 3 qualifying questions for my leads. Provide them without quotation marks. I say that because a lot of times it'll give quotation marks and then you just have to copy around them. So it's going to give me 3 qualifying questions. What type of service do you need? Are you experiencing ongoing issues? And how soon do you need it? Okay, great. So those are 3 qualifying questions. So to put those into high level, what we do is we go to settings and we go down here to custom fields. And then under folders, there's going to be a folder in here that is part of the snapshot called bot questions. So if you click on bot questions, it's going to be blank. And this is where we put our questions and this is where we put our custom fields. I recommend keeping it under bot questions and not making a different folder because we want to just be able to see the answers to the questions and know they came from a bot. All right, so I'm going to click add field. We always make it single line. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab the first question. I'm going to paste it in there, click save. I'm going to go back and pick the second question. And we're going to add another field, add another single line. Going to paste it in there. Going to click save. And then we're going to grab the last one. We're going to go back. We're going to add a field. And we're going to click save. So people ask me all the time, how many questions can I ask? You can ask as many as you want. However, I find 3 to 4 is the max that a lead will continue to answer before they get frustrated and stop talking to you. So 3 is kind of like the sweet spot. Okay. Let's go back to our checklist. Now we need to log into Consolidata and find our client account. So if you are the only client, then you're just going to log in. So you're going to log into Consolidata, and here we are. I'm going to find the account we're using. Call this one demo. And then we need to log into OpenAI and create an API key. So what you do in OpenAI is you go over here to API keys. Now, before we do that, I want to show you that you can have these different things called projects up here. So projects are, you can see I just have them organized by different things, right? You can create a project. Now, when you're doing a project, make sure you create your API key and your assistant in the same project or else it won't work together nicely. So I'm using demo bots. So I'm going to create an API key in demo bots. You can create a new secret key. And then what here is you give it a name, you click create secret key. And then what that'll do is that'll give you the API key. I'm not going to do that because I don't want one of my API keys shown on video. So then what you do is you go back over here to Consolidata. You're going to go to sources, and then this is where you're going to put your API key. So if you were bringing one in, I already have one in here. What you would do is you'd click add a source. You would click OpenAI, and then you'd give your API key a name and you would paste it in here. So it would be whatever it provided you here, just paste it right in there. Boom, you add it. And then this is what you're going to see. You're going to see something just like that there. Okay, so we're going to check this off, check this off. And then the next thing we need to do is we need to log into HighLevel using app.gohighlevel.com. You can see I have a white label domain called Automations Plus. So it's usually app.automationsplus.com, but for creating bots and connecting it to Consolidata, it has to be app.gohighlevel.com or it won't connect. So right now I'm connected as app.gohighlevel.com. If you're not, you just log in as your own account. Your same login for your white label domain will work, and you just have to be logged in that way. So I already have this account linked. I'm going to delete it just so you can see me adding it. And then I'm going to click add source. I'm going to click HighLevel. And then I'm going to search for the account we're going to use, which is called Heather Ward's account. It's just an old testing account that I used. You can see it's over here, right? So what I like to do is click on accounts and then click the name of the account and then just paste it up here so it just has a better interface for that. I'm going to click update. All right, cool. And then we connected it. All right, so the next thing we need to do is build our prompt. You see we're just flying through this. If you have a checklist, it works so much better. So what we're going to do is create a new prompt agent with Prompt Builder. So we're going to go to AI bot, text bot, and we're going to do a prompt builder. This one, we're going to create a bot agent, and we're going to call this one. First thing you do is you select your AI source, which is your API key. Then you select the account you're using. Then you give it a name. So we're going to call this one Emma. I like to use the name Emma. We're going to call this Plumber. Pick your AI source or your model. Right now, 4.0 works best. Whenever you watch this, pick whichever one is working best. And then we're going to call this Tampa Plumbing Company. And then it is to about your services. I don't worry about any of this stuff because this is all going to be overwritten in the prompt anyway. And then over here, Tampa Plumbing Company. And again, this is all going to be overwritten. All this can be dummy info except for the website, because what Consolidata will do is it'll go out and it will scrape whatever website you give it with the data that it has on there, and it will create a text file. Now we are going to delete that text file, and I'm going to tell you why. But for now, make sure it's a working website. It can be any working website. It doesn't matter what. It just has to work, or else none of this will load. And I'm going to say 123 Main Street, about us. Okay. So the last thing we need to do here, and you can also upload files here, but again, I don't recommend doing it through Consolidata. I'll show you a better way to do it that works a little bit better. This is where we add our custom fields, our questions. So we're going to click Add Step, and then we're going to go down here and say what type of plumbing service you're looking for. Add the other one. Are you experiencing? And then we're going to add the third question. And then I just go back to ChatGPT, grab the questions one more time. Oops. All right. And that's our questions. So just make sure one last look, it looks good. Click Save. So now what this is going to do is it's going to create a prompt for us, and it's also going to create an assistant on OpenAI for us. Okay, so let's go back over to here. We created a new bot agent. Now we're going to go back to OpenAI, and we're going to cancel out of that. We're going to go up to assistants. And you're going to see our new assistant is up here called Emma Plummer. So the first thing I do when I get in here is I delete these files. So I click on the files here, delete them, and then I detach from the assistant because that's all the files that Consolidata created, and I don't like those files, and I turn this off for now, and we'll get more back to this more later. And then down here, what we do is we turn on Code Interpreter, and again, I'll talk about this a little bit more later. And then we turn this down to 0.3. So this temperature thing is how abstract it can get with the answers, right? If you turn it all the way up to 2, it's going to like be wild, does what's called hallucinations, and it can make up all kinds of things. So for a business, we want that down to around like 0.3. That's perfect. Okay, so we did that. And now we need to copy the prompt and paste it into a text editor. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this whole entire prompt. Oops. And we're going to copy it, and we're going to paste it into a text editor. Now, you don't have to do all this stuff. You can use Consolidata right out of the box, but what I'm showing you is the best, most optimized way to do this, that we found that the bots work best. It answers the questions, it saves them, it sets the appointments. Everything works best doing it this way. It took me over a year to figure all this process out. So I recommend following my process. Now, what we're going to do next is make what's called mandatory changes to the prompt. This is basically where I make changes that make the prompt run a lot better, makes the bot respond a lot better. So I have a link down here to the changes. And so this one is for all Facebook and Instagram accounts. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy from main all the way down to step 3. And then where it says qualifying questions here, that's where we stop. So copy that. We're going to go down here, and we're going to paste this right over top of number 3. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go back over to here, and we're going to do number 8 down, but it's easier to copy from the bottom on documents for some reason. So step 8, copy. And we're going to go over here, and if there is a step 8, we overwrite it. But if there's not, which there isn't in this case, we're just going to paste it. We're going to delete all this stuff down here and paste it right in there. Now, if you want to add anything such as FAQ, such as contact info, such as anything else, you can add all of that down here at the bottom. If it's not too much data, I recommend putting it right in the prompt because it's accessed much easier, much cleaner by the bot. Okay. So now that we have that done, what we're going to do is we're going to go back and we're going to check off the mandatory changes. And then that doesn't need to be in there. Make custom edits to the prompt. Now, this is where if you were going to do something a bit more custom, if you had like say a real estate bot and you said, are you a buyer or a seller? And then the buyer would have its own questions, the seller would have its own questions. This is where you'd make custom changes to that. But we're not going to do that in this video. We're going to have an additional training where we show how to make custom changes in the future. But for now, we're going to do basic bot, answer questions, set appointment. Okay. Now we're going to take the revised code and we're going to run through what's called a markdown converter. So I'm going to show you what that means. So I'm going to go up here. I'm going to select all, copy this whole entire prompt. And then I built this thing called it's just my dashboard for making bots. I use it for me and my VAs. Everybody in my coaching group gets access to it. And basically you just make these buttons and link it to your stuff. And one of the buttons is markdown code. And what you do is you just paste it right in here. So what this does is this changes the plain text into markdown language code that ChatGPT understands a lot better. How does it work? I have no idea. I'm not a programmer, but I do know that it works better. So I just copied that code and I'm going to go back here. I'm going to go all the way up here and paste that in there. So now we have our best version of the code. Okay. I'm going to check that off. We pasted it in. Now, this is where we go back in any files. So if we did have files, like big files, say such as like a training schedule or a work schedule or something, you would add the files here. You would turn file search back on, and this is where you would add the files. But again, I don't recommend doing it unless it's a lot of data, just because it's just a lot faster if everything's right in the prompt. So if it's a lot of data, add files. If it's not, put it in the prompt, or if you don't need it at all, obviously you just turn file search off. All right, so now what we need to do is create a configuration in Consolidata. So we're going to go back to Consolidata. We're going to go up to AI bot. We're going to go to text bot, and we're going to click configuration. And then what we're going to do is click add an AI chatbot. We're going to call it Emma Plummer. We're going to select the account we're using for this. So we're using Heather Ward's account. We're going to select the calendar. So all the snapshots all come with bot calendar. And I recommend using bot calendar because you know the appointments came from the bot, but you can pick any calendar you want. You just have to make sure that the hours in the calendar are what you want them to be, or else the bot won't be able to set the appointment, obviously. Then what we do is human takeover tag. If we go down here to stop all bots, I put this in here so in case something happens where a client or a lead is angry, they're like, I hate this bot, I don't want to talk to it. You put stop all bots in it, it will stop everything. So I leave that in there for that. And then we're going to pick Emma Plummer. We're going to click save, and now you can see that it created it. So we're going to check that off. Now the next thing is we need to copy the webhook and we need to paste it into high level. So I'm going to click on this little eyeball thingy. We're going to copy this down here. We're going to go back over to high level. We're going to go back. We're going to go into automation, and under automation, we're going to go to the IG bot, and we're going to go to the IG bot trigger. And there's a webhook over here. Now you can see there's custom values in here. I noticed it wasn't pulling it in sometimes, so I just delete it and I paste right over it with the webhook. And then down here for webhook, I'm going to do the same thing. So these are the only two places we need to put this webhook. Click save. I'm going to turn this on publish, and I'm going to click save again. All right, so we did that. Now the next thing we need to do is go to Instagram page and send a message to test the bot. Now, before we do that, I want to explain how the bot works. Okay, so the first time somebody sends a message, it's going to come in here, and what's going to happen? It's going to look for a tag. This tag that we add is called IG for an IG bot. If it doesn't have the tag, it's going to go down here. It's going to remove from any other workflows. It's going to add the tag. It's going to add it to the webhook, and then it's going to add it to the follow-up. Okay. Second time through, it's not going to have that to do that because it already has the tag, and it's just going to go remove from other workflows, send out the webhook, add to the follow-up. Every time it sends the webhook, it's sending out to OpenAI, waiting for an answer. OpenAI, waiting for an answer, right? Now, every single time somebody sends a message, it sends it to the follow-up. And the reason is because just in case they never reply, we want the bot to follow up. So the very first one is going to wait 4 hours, and then it's going to follow up with them. Now, all these answers in here, these are all very generic. They're just designed to get somebody to reply. You can come in here and edit all of these, make them super fancy. If you use a different language, you'll have to obviously change them. But this will go out about 13 days of waiting, and then it'll loop back to the beginning. So, this thing is on a constant loop. And, they could get quite upset with you if this thing keeps following up and they don't want to be followed up with. So just FYI, this is a never-ending follow-up loop. Now, how do they get out of the follow-up loop? if they do what we want them to do, which is go in here and they book an appointment on the bot calendar, IG, it's going to add a tag that it is appointment set, and it's going to remove them from the follow-up workflows, and then boom, they're done. There will be no follow-up. So that is how this all works. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over to Instagram, and the page that we're testing today is called the League King 1111. And I'm going to go ahead and send a message, and I'm just going to say hello. Now back over here in high level, we can go to contacts. And I don't see it yet. Let's go up to conversations. All right, so you see the conversation came in. You see it's Russ Ward because it pulled it from my Instagram account. And you can see I came in and it said hello, pulled my name in from Instagram. And you can see the bot replied. It says, "Hi, Russ. What type of plumbing services do you need?" So I'm going to go back to Instagram. I'm going to reply. I'm going to say, "My toilet is leaking." Now back over here in high level, you're going to see that my response came in. And now the bot is just waiting. It's processing through the webhook back to OpenAI, and we're just waiting for the reply. So what I like to do when I'm waiting for replies, I like to go to automation. I like to go into the bot that I'm working on. For instance, in this case, it's IG bot. And anytime you see it in the FU, that means that it went through the trigger, set the link, it set the webhook out, and now it's just waiting for a follow-up if it needs to. So it's working well. And you can see, great, experiencing any ongoing problems? Yes, leaking for a month. And then we're going to go back to contacts, which is me. Now, as you can see, as we answer the questions, it's saving these under bot questions over here, right? And this is very important. One of the main reasons why we do testing is to make sure that the questions save properly. And they don't save in real time. Like it's always one behind, but it always gets them all. And now we're going to say, thanks for letting me know. How soon do you need the plumbing? I'm going to say ASAP. All right, so back over here, I'm going to go ahead and refresh this in high level. And you can see that it has these two saved now. And then as soon as it replies, it's going to update this next one as well. All right, great. Let's get that fixed. What's your time zone? Now, something about time zones in the prompt, when we get down here to booking the appointment, right? Step number one is ask for their time zone. If it's a nationwide thing, you're always going to want to ask for their time zone so the bot gets it right. But if it's local, like this plumber would be, what you'll do is you just delete these top two rows and you'll say like time zone is always EDT for Eastern Daylight Time. Never share this with them unless they ask. The reason why we say never share this with them unless they ask is because sometimes the bot would say, hey, the time zone is EDT, and it's just weird. So remember, if you're a local person, if you have a local business, just change that in the prompt, and then you won't have to worry about time zone. So I'm going to tell the bot my time zone is EDT. And if we go back into high level, you will see, and we refresh, you're going to see that the third question has now been saved. So we're really looking for a few things when we test this thing, right? We want to make sure all of our questions are saved. And the reason why they only pop up when they save is because I have this thing called hide empty fields up here. Oh, I messed up. What I did was I put the EDT from from the high level account. I was supposed to do it from over here. So it may have taken over and we may have to start this over, but let me see. That's a common mistake I make, right? So I replied from high level when I really should have been replying from Instagram. And I think that what happened, okay, great. This is great. Can you provide your phone number? But what I was saying over here was that we want to make sure that it's saving all of these. We want to make sure it's saving the contact info. All right, so I'm going to provide my phone number. And it's going to save the phone number. Now, the other thing is you can ask for their email address, see here in step 3. Not everybody wants to. So if you don't want to, you just delete that out of the prompt and then renumber everything accordingly. Run it through the markdown language thing and then paste it back in. Okay. It says, could you provide your email address? And as you can see, the bot is working directly through Instagram and it's conversationally booking. This is very important because back when we first started these bots, there was not conversational booking. We'd just have to send them a link and hope for the best. But in a conversation, the appointment set rate goes much higher because it's conversationally booking. It's not like, here's a link, hope you do it. Thanks, Russ. What day works best for you? And the reason we do it this way is because when we were doing cold calling, we found that if we do this exact process to set appointments, it works so much better than anything else. I'm going to say Friday. And it also says if you prefer the next available slot, just let me know. All right. So back over here in high level, I'm going to refresh it. And I want you to see that it actually saved the phone number and it saved the email address in here. So we have name, email, phone number, all the questions answered. So now all we really need to do is we need to make sure that the appointment gets booked correctly. I'm going to say it asked morning or afternoon. I'm going to say afternoon. Everything's looking good over here. Bot is running very nicely. And now we're just waiting for its reply. Now what it's going to do is it's going to come back and it's going to give us two options. When you play with these bots out of the box, and if you don't make the modifications that I recommend, it gives you like this ugly thing where it's like, here's the next 20 appointments, and it gives them all to you. This one conversationally gives to you. We have an opening on Friday at 2 or 3. Which one works for you? I'm going to say 3. And now what it should do is over here in high level is you should see this thing come back and it's going to confirm that the appointment was booked on the proper calendar. And you can see that. When you see this in here, appointment details updated, that means it was booked. It says, thank you, Russ. Your appointment is booked for 3. Looking forward to seeing you then. Now, obviously, if this was something where you needed to go out and, go to the home or something, you'd have to ask the address and things like that. So we're not doing that in this case, but in this, just as an example. Now you can see it was booked at 12 p.m., but we said 3. The reason for that is because this particular high-level account is based on Pacific time. So it's calculating it for the high-level account, but it's really actually a 3 o'clock appointment. So everything has been done right. The appointment is booked. The questions were saved. The contact info was saved. That's everything we need the bot to do. It worked perfectly. Now, one last thing to show you is if you go into automation, we have this appointment reminders flow. And what you can do is if you want, you can set this flow up so appointment reminders go in. So you click trigger. And then what you have to do is you have to pick the calendar that you want it to be. So in this case, it's bot calendar. So when an appointment is scheduled on there, you can send an internal notification. And then what you'll do is you put your mobile number in there. You'll edit this. You can update a pipeline stage if you're using a pipeline stage. And then this SMS will send a confirmation to the lead. You can make an email to send a confirmation to the lead, email 24 hours before, email 1 hour before, and then I like to send a 10-minute reminder. Hey, I'm going to be calling you in 10 minutes. Okay. So I don't enable that right away because some people have their own workflows and stuff like that. But if you want to use it, it is in there. So that is how you set up an Instagram bot. We find these are super useful for like influencers. If they say, hey, message me this word or whatever, you could build a bot on the back end for them that will do whatever you want it to do, set an appointment with them, give them a link, whatever. And so if you really want a use case for Instagram bots, influencers who have people messaging them all the time, the bots can literally change their life. So if you need any help with this, post in the group. Everything you need will be included. And we look forward to hearing about your great results.